Thank you, Veena. That was very nice of you to introduce me. For those of you who don't know me, I would like to mention that I have taught in CUNY system for almost more than 45 years of my life. And finally, I decided I will retire. I think that stage has to come at one time or the other. And I decided it's time to just take a break and then do other things that I have always been wanting to do. As far as my credentials are concerned, by the way, if we can turn the lights off on the stage, you can keep the lights on in the audience, that'll be okay. And the stage lights can go off. Sorry about this. Just have to bear with all the technology we have. While he is trying to get the lights down, let me mention to you that I am also a part of the American Museum of Natural History, where I do research work. And I am also a part of the board of the Asian Research Institute, which is attached to CUNY through Queen's College. And of course, I'm here to give this short lecture to the India Center, Bhagavad College. Today's the date. Can I get this down? That will help. Let me just say a word or two about the presentation that I'm going to give you. This is like a travelogue, so to speak. I was in India a few years ago, and at that time I had the opportunity to visit these wonderful caves. And the reason why I got interested in these caves is because they are carved into rock. And when I say rock, that's my specialty. And my specialty in geology is about rocks. And because if there's anything to do with the rocks, and particularly the kind that you'll look at in a few minutes, I'm very much interested. And these caves go back many thousands of years. I would say 300 to 600 BC is the time at which these caves were created. And basically what they have done is to take the rock that is sitting in a mountain and then just carve into it and then create all these wonderful things that I have seen and I would like to show them to you. Some of you perhaps have been to this part of India, and so this might not look too new to you, but bear with me and I'll make sure that this show will be interesting enough to all the audience. I guess we cannot get the lights down for some reason, so we'll just keep moving. This is basically India. Let me turn around. Facing the audience and facing the screen, that'll be a lot easier. This is basically India, and now there are other parts that have been created, but it's okay. So this is a kind of a few years ago, but it doesn't really matter. I just want to give you an idea where things are in India. And I was educated in down there. That's where I went to school, and then I came to New York and studied geology at Columbia University. And the next one will show you kind of a geological aspect to it. Like, for example, these are mountain ranges on the western side and on the eastern side, and then in the middle as well. And then there are mountains up here, the Himalayan mountains everybody heard of. And the mountain ranges go parallel to the coast and then end up down here. And there are significances about those things, but we will not be dealing with that at the present time. Our primary interest is in the center of India, where it says Deccan Plateau. if you look at the center part where it says Deccan Plateau, that's where the interest is going to be in this talk. Because that area, you'll see, look, something like this. The horizontal lava flows. Now, if you've heard of volcanoes, they put out material and they put out lava, and this is molten stuff that comes out on the surface, and then it comes out in layer after layer after layer, and that's what you have. These are the kinds of rock units we're talking about. And imagine somebody could sit there for years on end trying to carve into these mountains to see what we're going to find out in a minute. And that is the Deccan Plateau. The entire green area is the Deccan Plateau. And if you look carefully where my pointer is going to be, down there, you can see names such as Tapti, this is a river name, and Narmada is another river. And then if you are looking at New Delhi, it's further up, and south is down here. We are in this vicinity, more or less. That's where our interest is. And what these people have done, going back many centuries ago, they carved into this green area. And this is a kind of a rock that's very fine-grained. And so you could more or less chisel into it and make any kind of a shape that you like. Basically, Deccan, this is the largest volume, 8.6 billion cubic kilometers, approximately 200,000 square miles of India is covered by this material, and the age is Cretaceous to Eocene. Now, that may not mean anything to you. Just simply say, yeah, right, just about the time when the dinosaurs were there. Right? That way, everybody would understand what time span we're talking about. And then, the most interesting thing I would like to point out is that the chisel and hammer are the only tools they had at that time. I don't think they had any kind of an instrument where they could blast and things like that. I don't think so, because we're talking about several thousands of years ago, and BC time, and they did all the work with this chisel and hammer. And I am not here to give you a big lecture on Buddhism, but if you've heard of Buddha, this is a very well-known religion that is followed in China and in Japan, but it started in India. Unfortunately, it did not flourish very well in India, but at the time these caves were being manufactured, Buddhism was quite prevalent in these countries. And I'll skip all these details of 101. So basically, Hindu and Buddhist, and then Jain, another one called Jain. I'm not going to go into detail, but these are the kinds of religious aspects that are depicted into these caves. Let me get to the caves themselves. Somewhere in encyclopedias, you'll find a picture like this. As a matter of fact, I'll show you the original of it. This one is touched up a little bit so that it would look nice. But this is Bodhisattva Vajrapani. Bodhisattva is the original name of Buddha. Buddha was a king, and he renounced the kingdom, and then he became a saint of some sorts. And so this is the guy who originally started the Buddhism. And just to get this travelogue, this is where we stayed in a hotel, and it's a nice hotel. There are tourist buses, nice gardens, and this is the bus we traveled in. And you can see sites like this in India. If you ever go to India even today, if you're driving on the highways, these sites are quite common. They pack themselves and then they hang from the, wherever they can hang from, travel. And these are other kinds of interesting pictures. There's a procession of some god or something like that. And these things are very, very common. And then they put the god inside this cart and then travel around. Now we come to the main item, which is the Ajanta Caves. And there's a little write-up, but I'm not going to go into it. I've given you enough introduction. And this is a map of the area, and there we are. You can see me wearing a hat because they're hot. And you can see all the caves right behind me and on this side. They are carved into the rock. From an outside, it may not look like much, but once you go inside, I'll show you pictures of what kinds of things that they have been able to do. You can see the human beings and their size as compared to the rock ledges. You can see, all right, here's a temple that they have carved out of solid rock. There is nothing that was attached. It's all carved out of the original rock that was sitting there. It needs a lot of planning to decide where things are going to be or what size they're going to be and this sort of stuff. And that's where we are. You can see a nice lady standing there just for give you an idea of this size. And this is all one big rock mass. All right, there she is, Saint Mary. You can see the size of the statues that they have carved into the hills. And these steps were made later on so that people can go up and down. And that's me again looking at the scenery in the background. This is the drawing. Once you go inside the cave, they not only have carved into the cave, but then they have also created paintings inside the cave. And these are the early ones. And this is the Bodhisattva I showed you a picture of earlier, which has been touched up and all that. But this is the original painting that I have photographed inside the cave. And now I understand that there is some deterioration that's going on. They're trying to preserve this, and I don't know whatever they do to preserve these paintings. Okay, a couple more of these paintings, which may not be very well seen. More of this. And here are rocks which have been carved into the gods and goddesses of different kinds. Some more paintings, and this is the outside of one of the caves. This is the inside. There's a big, kind of a globe-like thing with a pillar on top, and this whole thing has been carved inside a cave. And by the way, if you get too tired of walking, you can hire some of these guys who can sit on it, and then they will carry you around. For those who cannot walk too well, you get the size of these statues. There's some tourists that came with me on that day. I have to stop here for a minute. This is the rock that we're talking about. This is the rock that they chiseled and chiseled to make all these big statues. There's a pen for size. That's a simple fountain pen. And then these are some of the statues. You can see different kinds of statues size-wise. This is the ceiling paintings on the side which are unfortunately being worn down. More of it. You can see. The interesting thing is they had to plan way ahead of time exactly how big a statue they're going to carve and how well they're going to do it. This is not a simple job. You can see some of the veins of that go through these rocks, and they have to account for these veins and then try to avoid them and so on. They try to do a good job as much as they can. And this is the one I was talking about. You can see this whole thing was carved into a hill. Imagine going into a hill and carving this whole thing out takes years on end. As a matter of fact, I was reading about all this. And legend says that it's not done in one person's lifetime. Sons and grandsons have worked on it. So it goes on for nearly 2, 3, or 4 generations who have worked on these caves. And the original planning had to be done by the senior person who started it, and then he had to give the plan to his son would give it to his son, and they had to carry out this so that we can see finally what this thing looks like. More of these, I'll just keep showing you. There's really no need for any further explanation of these things. By the way, there are no lights inside these caves, so if you have to take pictures, which they allow you to take pictures, you can use a flash camera and then This is the outside. They put a new window on the outside so that there is more light coming into the cave. Look at the intricate work they have done. Very intricate. And look at the statue of gods and goddesses in the circle itself. You can see the pillars. You can see the bare rock on the side. On the right-hand side and at the bottom you can see the bare rock and then the statue that is carved into this rock. And there's another shot. Here's a sleeping pose of Buddha. And this statue is several feet in length, much larger than the real life size. You can see, I couldn't photograph the whole thing because there was no space for me to go back and photograph it. I didn't have any special lenses, so I had to take the pictures in bits and pieces and then try to make it. Those are the feet, this is the middle part of the body, and that's the head. Okay. Head, middle part, and feet. Okay. And here are some more pictures of this kinds of stuff. All right. Now, I have one more presentation to make for you. And we've been looking at the Ajanta, and this is one of the older ones. And the next one I'm going to show you is about Ellora. And by the way, the Ellora is totally caves and not just forget. Come on. And then we'll be able to see it. We continue our journey to the other caves, and I was sitting inside the bus that I was traveling in, and you can see the bullet cart. And once they are on the road, there's no way you can, pass it. That's not easy, so we just have to wait out. Anyway, there's another way of transportation. They get on lorries. Just to give you a feel for what India in that part of the world looks like. You're seeing Indian dances, and if you can relate these wonderful dances that you have seen so far with all these pictures, that will give you a much better appreciation of what India is like. This is the people I traveled with, and those are the caves in the background. And I'll take you closer. It's just a map of where the caves are. Here are the real caves inside the rock. The kind of material that these people worked on, this was not much later than the previous one, but this is all carbon. There is no painting involved at all. And there are something like, I don't know, 20 or 30 different kinds of caves that have been done. This is the rock that I'm talking about. You can see the pen for size, and this is what they have been carving into. And if you leave these rocks out to the open, this is what happens. The weathering takes over, rain and sunshine and all this sort of stuff. We weather the rock down, and the rock will eventually crumble. Thank God that they have done all these things inside, and so they are preserved. If it is all done outside, they would have gone by now. So here's the rock on top, and here is what they have carved. You can see the lady for size. You can see the inside. You can see human beings, the size of the statues. You can see elephants. All these have stories to tell. Each one of these figures, you can tell a story about a particular god or what goddess or what they were doing and things like that. But I'm just going to show you a bunch of pictures and let your imagination take over. Now this is a pillar that was created right smack in the middle of a big temple. This is one of the most famous of the several hundreds of temples that they have created in the rock, but you can see other kinds of things. Now what they do is they take stories from the old literature, and then they make pictures of the stories. So you can actually read a story into the rock. That's basically what it is. They're trying to repair stuff in some areas. And here is a bigger statue. You must have heard one of those important gods called Shiva. And here is a carving of Shiva. Now what they're doing is, you see, they take these reflectors and then they try to shine the sun into the cave so that people can see. That's what this guy is trying to do. He's trying to shine the light from the sun into the caves because there's no electricity. It's just dark inside. So they use this technique of using sunlight to show inside. And there's a tourist guy here, and this is the guy who is showing the sunlight. This is the inside. You can see the reflection of the sun's rays that they were reflecting. This is all inside a cave that has been totally done by chisel and hammer. You can imagine how long it took and how much of planning it takes to do this sort of stuff from a rock. Just imagine there's a mountain, and then they try to create this core from a mountain. Another one. You can see the whole rock. Those are all the caves on the mountainside. Just enjoy the kind of work that they were able to do back thousands and thousands of years ago. This is a cave. It's been half done. It's not been completed. But the pillars are there and everything. Now, what I would like to show you is just two clips. When I say clips, these are basically related to the latest. Now, these are drawings made from the statues that they discovered in these caves. And you can see the kind of ornamentation that was created on those statues inside the caves. These are female dresses from the caves. These are real, just hand-drawn from the statues that they found. Here are hairstyles from those statues. You can see that there are lots of different kinds of hairstyles that they have copied. Here's another one. Bunch of hairstyles from ladies. My God, today's beauticians do go crazy looking at this other stuff. There are some more dresses and ornaments that were found on those carvings. Here are some more dresses and ornaments. You can see more ornaments. You can see male dresses. You saw some mostly female earlier. These are male dresses. And that takes care of it. Then I just have two very short videos I'd like to show you. One on Genta and the other one on Elora. This one, the one that's coming up is on Genta. This is a group by Genta. And this will give you a better appreciation. I was just panning my camera right through the entire set of caves that we were going to be visiting. We have visited, as a matter of fact, this video was done early on. You can see what the thing looks like. This is all Ajanta. You've seen still pictures of most of these. These are foreign tourists. That place attracts a lot of foreigners, tourists all the time. And you can see the hills on the side. There's a little bridge that goes across the line. Okay. Here's a pathway leading to all the different caves. All the caves are to the right, and we can see them. These are the kinds of rocks that they use to carve out these wonderful looking things. And then they painted inside these caves. These are the Ajanta caves. I have a short clip on the Ellora also. In just a moment, as soon as this one is done, I'll show you that. All right. This one is on Ellora. This is the most famous Kailash temple. The entire thing has been chisel and hammer every step of the way. The whole thing, several stories. It's not just one story, it's got 2 or 3 stories. Somewhere in here I saw a big life-size elephant standing in the middle of the courtyard. I think you'll get it in just a moment. These are tourists just wandering around. You can see how many stories that they are built. The amazing thing is, imagine, I cannot imagine how they could come up with a design as to what they're going to make ahead of time and then actually make it happen. It's not like you carve something and then you go and attach it to something else. No, it's all done. Look at that elephant. Life-size elephant. Right smack in the middle of the temple. And carved from one rock. The whole thing is from one rock. There's nothing attached. That's the elephant. Okay, I think that'll give you a good appreciation of what this whole thing looks like in real life. Okay, and I thank you for your patience, and I'll just let this video run. I thank you kindly for your time that you spent with me, and like I said, I'm not doing a song and a dance, I'm just showing you a travelogue. Thank you again.